Hey everybody, it's Marco here with Gear Sustain. Today I'm going to reveal the 2021 Tesla Model 3 that I picked up in Denver. Mind you, it's cold weather, so definitely more videos coming out in regards to that. But I want to talk about the road trip back to Arizona. So we're going to talk about the 1,000+ miles that I drove and exactly how efficient it was. So without further ado, let's jump straight in. Okay, so here we are in the vehicle. I appreciate you guys joining us on this quick video. Like I said, today I want to talk about how the road trip went because it was pretty rough, to be honest with you. There's a few things that I wish I knew about Tesla Model 3s, especially the standard range edition, before I purchased it. I should have done a little bit more research. However, obviously nothing that's going to stop me from purchasing the vehicle. Just a few things I wanted to go over. So, I mean, first things first, if you talk about where, just locality wise, I went from Denver, Colorado to Arizona, so Phoenix, Arizona. And for those who don't know both of these areas, basically Denver's like in North Colorado, Arizona corners with Denver or with Colorado. So it was a good, give or take 1,500 miles from Denver to Phoenix for sure, with the detours included. And you may be asking what detours, and at the end of the day, there was pretty significant detours that we did have to do because of the limited range. Now that obviously is due to Tesla not installing as many superchargers as I realized. If you were to look at the map, which I'll pop up on the screen here, if you're going from Denver to Arizona, you could either go south to Albuquerque or you can go towards Salt Lake City or just south of Salt Lake City and through Flagstaff or northern Arizona, if you will. And so that's where I decided to go through. I was going through the mountains to go skiing. So I went through Colorado all the way into Utah, and then I figured out, well, to get from Moab to Flagstaff, which was the next supercharger, it was 250 something miles. And so that significantly, added a detour since we had to go all the way to Las Vegas. Keep in mind, this is the standard plus range edition of 2021 Tesla Model 3. And so, yes, with the limitations that I had with it, it was pretty, it was not efficient whatsoever when it comes to those road trips where you're coming from city to city and, significantly, seeing long distances between each superchargers. Now, let's say, for example, you're going on an interstate. An interstate, of course, is going to have a supercharger every, 100 miles about, so you're totally fine there where you could possibly skip one and hit the next one. So, like, for example, from Denver to Las Vegas, it was pretty far, but it was along a pretty significant interstate where there was a lot of Tesla vehicles, and they had superchargers every 100 miles or so. Now, if you talk about going south from that place into Arizona, it was just one of those spots, which I'm presumably across the United States, there's quite a few of those where we had to take a little bit of a detour. So that was, obviously it wasn't very helpful whatsoever. I wish I knew some of those components before I had purchased the vehicle. It definitely added some time to the trip. Now, as far as efficiency and time on the road, to be honest with you, it wasn't much of a headache stopping. That's definitely personal preference. At the end of the day, I like to just, sit down, go on my phone for a little bit, catch up on the emails, catch up on the business, you name it. And so it was fine stopping every now and then for a charge. And keep in mind, these charges aren't too long. I want to make a video shortly here on Tesla Supercharging. It takes around 30 minutes, to be honest with you, to charge. And so if you talk about stopping at a gas station, you're stopping for 10 minutes minimum. And so at a supercharger, you're stopping for 30 minutes. It's 3 times longer. It's a little bit, it's a little bit, useless to stop every, so often to charge your car, if you will. But to be honest with you, in my personal opinion, it wasn't too much of a problem, to be honest with you. So I hope that makes sense, in regards to going from city to city. To be more specific, I went around 1,500 miles and I stopped around 8 or 9 times. And I think if you plan out how you, when you stop and how your trip goes, I think that's the most important part, because if you think about it, if I'm going to go from one city to the next, city A is, let's say 100 miles from city B, and the next city is another 100 miles. So presumably you could go from A to C without stopping at B. My personal preference was, let's stop at every single one we see, because obviously, as we know from the statistics and what Tesla says, your supercharger, your battery will charge faster in its lower numbers. So for example, from 20% to 80%, you're going to charge significantly faster than from 80 to 100. So if you've ever noticed that, if you're going to charge from 80 to 100% at a supercharger, it's going to take, give or take 25-30 minutes, depending on the battery you have, whereas it would take 25-30 minutes to get from 20 to 80. So that was a pretty significant trend that I learned while taking this car on a road trip. Now, as far as winter weather, because I did have a little bit of weather in Denver, in Colorado, and so there was, snowstorms. I needed chains. Well, I didn't use chains, but I needed chains to go through the pass. And I had some weight as well. So I had skis and a bunch of weight and a couple guys with me. So at the end of the day, we definitely had to charge more often in cold weather with the additional weight and with the long distance. So that was significantly useless if you talk about it, because to get from, I forget what city was it, but Vail to Glenwood Springs, I mean, maybe it's 80 miles, and it almost took a full charge. So we lost probably, we're probably doing almost 2 miles for every actual mile we went. So when I saw that number dropping, I got a little bit hesitant, and it was a little bit sketchy, to be honest with you. So I appreciate you guys checking out this video. Leave in the comment section below if you guys have any questions, concerns, or any thoughts as well that you can add to the conversation. One thing I'd like to add as well is if you're thinking about getting a Tesla, of course you can buy from the link below. No obligation. Check it out. Definitely worth getting one of these vehicles, or at least test drive. Go to your local Tesla store and test drive one of these suckers as well. So I appreciate you guys checking out the video. If you found this video being helpful, make sure you subscribe to the channel. This channel, Gear Sustain, is all about automotive and motorcycle related topics. So I'd appreciate you guys if you subscribe and give it a massive thumbs up. Talk to you soon.